That same evening, instead of wedding excitement, I was handed legal papers that ended everything. Before we go further, one small favor. Please subscribe, hit like, comment, and tap that notification bell so more people can find these gripping stories. Planning the wedding should have been thrilling, but instead, it made me uneasy. Daniel sat across the table, calculator in hand, scribbling costs for flowers and catering. He asked if we really needed the extra string quartet. I told him he was sucking the joy out of it. He said we had to watch the budget. I laughed, saying if he wanted careful, he should have stayed single. He frowned, but didn't argue. That was the problem, he never argued. My mother called that evening to check on the plans. I complained that Daniel was turning love into a spreadsheet. She sighed, saying I needed someone who would let me shine, not weigh me down with limits. Her words lingered. Maybe Daniel was lucky to even have me. Later, as he worked late, I scrolled through my phone. Adrian's name blinked on the screen. My old flame. We had reconnected weeks ago, harmlessly at first. He asked how I was, if I ever thought of him. I reminded him I was engaged, but he said he just wanted to talk. That small thrill, someone from my past wanting me, felt more exciting than Daniel's budget charts. I flipped the phone face down. Daniel asked if I was okay. I told him it was just work. He nodded, trusting as always. I smirked inside. He didn't know I could balance both worlds. I zipped my wedding planner shut, thinking, one tiny secret before forever wasn't wrong. The next week at work, wedding chatter followed me everywhere. Co-workers asked about the dress, the venue, the cake. I gave short answers, pretending to be busy. My mind stayed on Adrian. He had messaged again, hinting at memories only we shared. I told him to stop, then laughed at his persistence. Flattered, I planned to meet friends that evening at the wine bar, ready to play the confident bride-to-be, the one men noticed. That night, glass in hand, I leaned back as the girls begged for stories. I smirked. Adrian still wanted me. I even gave him one last night as a goodbye gift before my wedding. They gasped, then laughed, and I soaked in their attention. I said it didn't mean anything, just closure. The more they giggled, the bigger my smile. What I didn't notice, Daniel had quietly walked in, intending a surprise. He froze, catching enough words. I spotted him, brushed it off, joking that he was just too jealous. The girls laughed. Later at home, he asked me directly what I meant. I told him he misunderstood, it was just a joke. I accused him of paranoia. If he trusted me, he wouldn't ask. He stayed silent. I turned that silence into my victory. What I didn't realize was that while I laughed with my friends, he had already logged into our shared tablet and discovered the messages I thought I had deleted. The weekend brought a dinner with both our families at a cozy restaurant Daniel's parents loved. I dressed carefully, determined to look untouchable, to show everyone I was in control. As we sat around the table, the conversation turned to the wedding. His mother asked if I was nervous. I smiled widely and said not at all. Then, joking for effect, I said men never really let go, that some still call years later, asking for one last chance. My friends at the wine bar would have laughed, but here, forks froze midair. Richard, Daniel's father, stared at me like I had spat on the tablecloth. Do you think it's appropriate to say that with your fiance sitting here? I waved my hand. Harmless honesty, I said. I'm not afraid to admit I've been desired. Daniel's face didn't change, but his jaw tightened. My mother immediately defended me, calling me bold, saying Daniel needed to loosen up. That only deepened the silence. Claire, my sister, shook her head and muttered that I was humiliating myself. I snapped back that she was jealous, that she couldn't handle attention like I could. She stood and left, refusing to look at me. I pretended not to care. That night, my phone buzzed. A message from Adrian. He said it meant a lot that I had spoken fondly about our secret. My blood ran cold. I hadn't told him about the dinner, so how did he know? Then it hit me. Daniel must have seen the notification when we shared screens. He didn't yell or confront me. He simply sat across the room scrolling silently, gathering every detail I thought I had hidden. At Daniel's parents' house for a pre-wedding dinner, I tried to spin everything as honesty. At least I admit my past instead of pretending to be perfect, I said. His parents smiled tightly, while mine insisted Daniel was too stiff to handle me. I smirked, thinking their doubt proved my point. When Daniel's mother asked if I was serious about marriage, I laughed. Everyone has unfinished chapters, but that doesn't mean I'm not committed. Daniel stayed silent, calm sharper than anger. His brother Paul finally spoke. Everyone's tired of your games. Daniel deserves respect you refuse to give. I rolled my eyes, accusing him of meddling. Then, a friend texted me. Screenshots of my bragging at the wine bar were being shared around. My face burned, and Daniel's steady gaze told me he already knew. Daniel chose that night to act. At home, he asked me to sit at the kitchen table. I expected a lecture, but he opened a folder. Inside, printed screenshots of my chats with Adrian, group messages, even photos from the wine bar. My throat went dry. I rushed into excuses, tears, pleading. He didn't raise his voice. He simply placed another document on the table, an official cancellation notice for the wedding, signed and stamped. My mother shouted at him on the phone, calling him cold. His father told him he had done the right thing. Claire refused to speak to me. Daniel calmly said this wasn't revenge, only dignity. Then he left me staring at papers that turned my perfect wedding into nothing but a memory. We met later at a small cafe, where no one would interrupt. I dressed carefully, hoping to remind him why he chose me. I told him Adrian meant nothing, that I was joking, that stress made me say foolish things. He didn't argue. He slid a slim envelope across the table, finalized legal filings, cancelled contracts, claims to recover wedding costs. I pleaded, saying love should forgive mistakes. He shook his head. Trust is gone. Without trust, there's no marriage. Cups clinked, and I felt exposed, powerless. When I told my mother, she had no defense left. My father quietly said I had brought it on myself. Daniel walked out of that cafe with his head high, leaving me with nothing but a folder and the echo of my own bragging that had cost me everything. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Comment which city you're watching from.